Hey everybody, back with another binder video. With the football season officially over, I figured I'd get a football binder video done as we head into the off season, and been promising my Giants buddy Brian that I would do a Giants binder video, so chose the Giants defense binder. So let's get rolling with this. Gonna have to pause a few times for storage issues, but I'll upload it all as one video. But here you just got some Bill Parcells and some Super Bowl cards. Just threw those in there in the front. Got some old school guys there. I should say a few guys you won't see in here. One is Lawrence Taylor, because I took him out recently because this binder was just getting too full. You can kind of see it's still kind of full, but yeah, it just made sense to take LT out because he had the most cards in here, so put him in a different binder by himself. And also Michael Strahan is not in here because he's in a separate binder with Amani Toomer and Tiki Barber, because those are my big three. So hopefully eventually I'll show those binders as well. You got some nice Harry Carson stuff. Definitely got to get some more of him. Some Carl Banks. Told the story a few times before. I saw him when I was walking around Manhattan once, but didn't go up to him. Like, I don't bother people like that. Hey, if you live in New York City, you can see a lot of celebrities and athletes walking around all the time, but I just let them be. I don't really bother them. And he looked really annoyed too, because I think a lot of people were just like kind of staring at him. So if anybody did go up to him, they were gonna regret it that day. You got some Leonard Marshall. Yeah, you're seeing a lot of like late '80s, early '90s junk wax type stuff. Pepper Johnson. But you'll see some newer stuff too. The way I have it right now is like older stuff leading up to newer stuff, so the current players are towards the back. But I've changed the way this binder is many times before. Like, I'm never 100% satisfied with it, so who knows, might change it again at some point. But this works for right now. Mark Collins, really like this one. Great shot on that one. Got some more Mark Collins, some Raina Thompson. So yeah, I usually prefer not to have like multiple players on a page, but sometimes just for space purposes, you gotta do it. So Myron Guyton. And a variety of guys on this page. We're getting into like some mid 90s stuff here. Some Cedric Jones rookies, really like that. Pinnacle rookie. 3 different guys from that upper deck set. And Phillips Sparks. Now we're getting into like my era of Giants. Like early 90s, I would watch here and there when my brother was watching, and I wanted them to win and all that. But I would say like mid 90s is when I really started following them like hardcore. Jason Seahorn. It was always kind of a love-hate thing with him here. He was a good athlete, but sometimes it seemed like he wanted to be more of a celebrity than a football player. He was married to an actress, and yeah, it just seemed like he liked that celebrity lifestyle. The Hammer, Keith Hamilton, Corey Whitmer. So I really fell in love with watching the Giants defense during these days, because they didn't really have like a lot of big stars, but they just had a team that would just kind of grind it out, a hard-hitting team. So again, just really fun to watch. Jesse Armstead was another favorite. Ended up leaving to go to the Redskins late in his career because Giants didn't want to pay him. But then came back on the coaching staff years later. Sean Williams, he was an okay safety. So again, they had a lot of guys like this during this era that weren't really like individually game changers, but they could get the job done, keep the team somewhat competitive. Here we're getting into like the early 2000s. Kenny Holmes, remember they got him from the Titans. Can't remember if it was a trade or free agent signing. Got Michael Barrow, he was like a solid veteran. Brandon Short. Dahani Jones, who I think turned out to be a bit better than they expected, but he ended up leaving after a few years. Jabril Wilson, Will Demps. Didn't mention the guy up top there, William Joseph. He was kind of a flop from the draft. And he drafted these two DBs the same year, Will Allen, Will Peterson. They were okay, but again, nothing really spectacular. This guy, on the other hand, one of the best acquisitions the Giants ever made, in my opinion. Actually, let me pause right here and then I'll come back. As I was saying, Antonio Pierce, one of my favorite Giant acquisitions ever. They signed him away from the Redskins, and like right away he became a great leader on and off the field. I feel like when he got here, he played a big part in helping the Giants defense get to like the next level. It's like elite level. Him and a bunch of other guys, but again, he was a big part of it. He was on the Super Bowl team the first time they beat the Patriots. And the defense in general was just amazing during that whole playoff run. O.C. Umanura, he was also a big part of that. O.C. was here for both times they beat the Patriots. Yeah, they drafted him in 2002, I believe that was. And was here for a long time. Eventually left to sign with the Falcons. But still, they got 2 Super Bowls out of him. That's a cool star quest. I like that one with Justin Tuck. Justin Tuck was another big member of that defense. Got the regular tops and the gold. You got Matthias Kiwanuka. He was like kind of a forgotten guy. Just kind of a quiet guy. Just showed up, did his work, did his thing, put up his numbers, and was here for like a decade. You never really heard much about him, but again, he was a solid member of the defense for a long time. There you got Justin Tuck. I feel like he kind of came out of nowhere. Like, didn't even know much about him and became a big-time defensive player. Again, he was also part of 2 Super Bowl winning teams. You see that same card with OC. Have one in Justin Tuck's section too. Got the regular tops and the mini. Jason Pierre-Paul, that was a great draft pick. Feel like he immediately made an impact, and every year he would get a little bit better. Some cool rookies. Yeah, he was one of my favorites to watch. Then they eventually let him go, signed with Tampa Bay. Yeah, he won that 1 Super Bowl with the Giants and 1 with Tampa. And he had that accident where, with the fireworks, where he ended up losing a few fingers. Some cool select cards. This one has a Tampa logo, but he's still in a Giants uniform, so I kept it in here. And you see that cast he's wearing, that's when he had the accident with his hand. Which I think it showed a lot that he even played that season. Like, nobody would have said anything if he would have just decided to sit out the season, but he got back to work as soon as he could and played out the season, so you gotta appreciate that. Here you got like a mixture of guys. A few underrated DBs there. Terrell Thomas, Corey Webster. Zach Diossi, he was here a very long time. His dad also played with the Giants. Aaron Ross, he was kind of overrated, but he was here for at least 1 Super Bowl. I think he might have been here for 2 of them. But again, he wasn't like that great, but just stuck around long enough. And Kenny Phillips, you can kind of say the same thing about him. Another mixture of guys here. So usually if it's not like big name guys, that's when I toss a bunch of them together on a page. Prince Amukamara, aka Princey Pooh. Remember he said that in an interview once, he said the ladies call him Princey Pooh. For some reason, that's like the only thing I remember about him. Antrell Roll, he was a solid safety for a while. Tyler Sash, he ended up taking his own life. He had like CTE issues. It's a nice clear vision. Dominique Grimardi. Yeah, another guy that was solid for a few teams. Yeah, we're getting to like more recent years where they weren't winning as much. Linval Joseph, really liked him. Some other rookies from that same year. But yeah, they let Linval go too early also. Seems like that's been happening a lot. Like, they'll have some guys have some good years and then they don't want to pay them, so they end up leaving. Jonathan Hankins. DeMontre Moore. He was kind of a bust. Speaking of, there's another one. Odigizua. I have like tons of these rookies, but I only try to keep one copy of each. These are all different. So here you have Landon Collins, who for a few years was arguably my favorite player on the team, but they ended up letting him go. Went to Washington, which was really tough. It was tough enough just losing him, but losing him within the division made it even worse. You see a bunch of his Donruss rookies. A lot of his base too. I feel like during these years, a lot of the Panini bases started to kind of look the same. Like, I have a tough time even knowing what some years some of the stuff is from. Obviously, like, the nicer stuff stands out, like the Optic and the Prism. But stuff like Prestige, Score, Donruss, again, a lot of it just kind of looks the same to me. Those are pretty cool, the captain's inserts, regular and the red. And you got Eli Apple, who was making a lot of headlines before and after the Super Bowl. Even when he was here, he was always kind of annoying. I remember his mom was always talking and tweeting, which apparently is still going on. Like, it's just not a good look having your mom fight your battles for you. But yeah, he was a big time flop. They picked him high in the draft. It says here 10th overall, which is even higher than I thought they picked him. So yeah, if you pick a corner that high in the draft, you expect him to be dominant, but he certainly was not. Then you got DeAndre Baker, who was another flop, was here 1 year, then got in trouble off the field and got released. Damon Snacks Harrison, I liked him. He played here with the Jets and Giants. But another guy, after like 2 or 3 years, they let him go. Olivier Vernon, Janoris Jenkins. So yeah, these are some of the guys that have been here the past few years. And again, they spend a season or two here, then they end up going somewhere else because the Giants keep changing coaching staffs and all that. So some of these guys are just in and out pretty quick. To Alec Ogletrees, those are both different. I got one of those from Madden Crazy and one from Bob Sanders, Just the Bears, but not sure which one was from who. Dalvin Tomlinson rookies. Leonard Williams, who also played with the Jets. I feel like he has a lot of potential. Like, he'll have one season where he just looks amazing, and then he'll have another season where he looks like he might be out of the league soon. So we'll see. He had a bit of a down year this year, so maybe he's due for a great one next year. Lorenzo Carter. Bunch of Prism colors. Love those. We got here Dexter Lawrence. Yeah, these are some of the guys they drafted the past few years who we're still kind of waiting on. Xavier McKinney, he's showing some flashes that he could be decent. Use the same photo on a bunch of those. I like that one. I think I got that one from Jetsman. Few more McKinneys up top and some O'Shane Zimenez. So yeah, they've been drafting a lot of defense the past few years, trying to find something. This guy is pretty good, Ojulari. Or at least I think he could be pretty good. He kind of reminds me of JPP just with his length. He got those long arms, just kind of reaches out and takes down the quarterback. Nice Jabril Peppers. They got him in the Odell Beckham trade. Yeah, we're reaching the end here. That's the final page. Some Blake Martinez and James Bradbury. So that will finally be the end of this one. I usually prefer just to show one player per binder video, but for this one just chose to get it all over with in one shot. So hope a few of you enjoyed the whole thing, and hopefully I'll get another binder video done before too long. Maybe baseball or basketball, or maybe even my one hockey binder, but not sure how much interest there will be in that. But either way, I'll be back with something soon.